That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther.
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
For sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B, and of course, just Jack, Flat Earth. You want to mute, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I'm not hearing you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
I was
shalom.
I was quickly trying to click the button, but I couldn't find it. At least I didn't try to talk with it on. I didn't do the rookie move, so that's good. I just couldn't find the stinking button. All right. Um, yeah, it's good to be Shabbat. Gotta say that. Um,
Absolutely.
I'll I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. I, I've gotten to the point now where we think that it's going to happen. So for all those who may or may not want to know, I'm going to be a father yet again. This will be number 9 of his, hers, ours, and theirs. So, Yah willing, all will go well, and I'll be a father yet again. So,
Isn't 9 the number of completion or something like
no,
that?
I mean, to some, to some. I think 7 was completion, and then we're just getting bonuses after that. But
Uh.
I think you need 9 to have a baseball team. Uh, I'm number I'm number 2 of 9 myself, but that was like legitimate. Both my parents having 9.
Hmm.
And I'm third of 11 if you include half brother and sister. But yeah, it's pretty surreal that at this age I'm yet going to have another child. And for those of you who are wondering, I was born in 1978. So um, some of you people were born in the 2000s, and that just blows my mind. So
I know. That's like me
alrighty.
starting over from zero. I can't even imagine.
My yes. Um,
More
I was
flat
trying to do
Earth
the math.
babies.
Yeah, exactly. We're just trying to help the population of flat Earth,
That's right.
um, creator acknowledgers. So that's the goal. Just you know, we don't take precautions. Let's put it that way. And whatever happens is in the will of the Father. So. I'll give my disclaimer. Obviously, we're obviously not on the subject of Torah, so my disclaimer is good because life experience. All right, just Jack's disclaimer to the religious. If you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scriptures shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, hold on a second. If you've been turned off to your religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words as well as context from a non-religious perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There you go. Alrighty. So last week, again, it's kind of sporadic because this is the last speech of Moshe before crossing over to the Yarden. So it's kind of like, all over the place, hitting different things. So last week we covered the designated cities in each of the tribes for the Levites to dwell in because the Levites don't have an inheritance other than the inheritance of Yah's service. And then a new prophet like Moses is the prophecy of one to come that will come with the name of Yehovah, and he will only speak the words of Yehovah. And if the way to tell if it's a true prophet, if he calls something and it comes to pass, and he tells people to stay with Yah's direction and Yah's word, then that's a true prophet. Anything that doesn't line up with those criterion are not prophets. So, in my experience, when I was in churchianity, and through the whole spectrum, I have met many self-proclaimed prophets and went to big tent revivals, like stadiums being rented out and stuff. I used to do the whole gambit of that kind of stuff back in the day. And when I came to the scriptures, I realized they weren't true prophets because they basically treated the creator like a celestial Santa Claus, rather than, treating him as, if I love him, I'll obey what he commands. So I would say that those, according to Deuteronomy 18, are false prophets. So, and that's all I'm going by. I'm not going by anything else other than that criteria. So don't spiral out of control. Don't send me clips about people who are prophets. I don't care. I just don't care. I think all of us have the ability to prophesy, even false prophets, because it's our this realm is for us. And when we tap into the creator, some things are revealed to you as you go through life. It's just a matter of fact. I've
Yeah.
had it happen to me multiple times before.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have. And Paul says, with all these different gifts that you could do, healing and you know, whatever. I can't remember the list right now. But he says, most of all, I would have that you all prophesy. Well, if there's only the prophets that prophesy, how can we all prophesy? Because we're supposed to. We're all supposed to tap into the creator and uh hear his voice. That's what it means to follow the creator. So with that, all right. We are now in Deuteronomy 19, and that is 19 out of 34. So I know that we kind of like we hit the halfway mark, and then we kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
because we had a lot going on with the um, Fest and the Moedim and all that stuff going on, and
Yeah.
hurricane. It's like, so now I think we're going to get back into a regular groove, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go ahead and read Deuteronomy 19 whenever you are ready.
All right. When Yehovah your Elohim cuts off the nations whose land Yehovah your Elohim is giving to you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, separate 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land, which Yehovah your Elohim is giving you to possess.
Okay, so we talked about the cities being separate for the Levites. Now there's yet another separation of cities. So it kind of ties in with the last one with the bump of the coming prophet in between the two. So it does still kind of connect. Go ahead. Verse 3.
Prepare a way for yourself, and divide into 3 parts the border of your land which Jehovah your Elohim is giving you to inherit, that any manslayer shall flee there.
Okay, so you take your land and let's say you have like a circle, right? You don't, but let's say you have a circle piece of land, then you're going to make 3 lines cuts in it so that it's equally divided into 3 parts. That way, um if you're a manslayer, which I say for the translation there, the crusher, yeah, uh, rats. Oh my gosh, I didn't even click on the verse. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay, so a deadly wounder. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it can be purposeful or it could be accidental, right? That's the point of this place. We talked about this back in Leviticus, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
or early Deuteronomy. But the fact of the matter is that if you're at, like, let's say the state, for lack of a term, right? Like the tribes area, if you're at the very northern tip and your city of refuge is all the way in the south, that would be very bad for you to try to run and flee for your life. So it says to take the entire land and split it into 3 equal parts, and then each of them have a city in the midst of them so that you can flee. All right, 4.
And this matter of the manslayer who flees there and lives, he who strikes his neighbor unknowingly, not having hated him in time past.
Okay, accidental.
Even he who goes to the forest with his neighbor to cut timber, and his hand swings a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, let him flee to one of these cities and live.
See, I think this is like very important. Like the Moshe is trying to give you a lot of different instances. Like, well, how could somebody kill somebody on accident? And he's like, well, it could be this, it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 6.
Lest the revenger of blood, while his displeasure is hot, pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and shall strike his being, though he was not worthy of death, since he had not hated him before.
All right. So there's the concept right there. I have known people who are they're loophole believers, right? They're trying to find a way out of keeping the scriptures, and they'll say something like, "Well, you're only an accidental manslayer if it's these specific incidences. Like only if you kill somebody with an axe head are you allowed to flee, or only if um you strike somebody and they die accidentally." No, it's talking about any accidental death.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's overarching. But some people do that. They're like, well, they're trying to get a gotcha. Well, what about if blah blah blah? What about if? Um, but yeah, so if the wait's too long, then the guy could get closer and closer and closer, catch up to him and kill him, and never got able to flee. All right.
Therefore I am commanding you, saying, separate 3 cities for yourself.
Okay.
And if Jehovah your Elohim enlarges your border, as he swore to your fathers, and has given you the land which he promised to give your fathers, when you guard all this command to do it, which I am commanding you today, to love Jehovah your Elohim, and to walk in his ways all these days, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3.
Okay. So the bigger you get, like we've now acquired this other large piece of land, add 3 more cities. In other words, give enough opportunities, enough locations where people can easily flee if they do an accident slaughter. I find it interesting that cities are necessary for that, right? It's not just like stay locked up in your house, right? It's cities of refuge is what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also to love Yehovah your Elohim is to walk in his ways. So it's not just I say that, there's a lot of believers out there who have the love, they love the idea of the creator, but they don't love the creator because they don't care what he says or what he wants. They just like the idea that, there's a guy in charge. There's a lot of those out there too. I can do what I want and I love him because, I exist or whatever. So, but it says to love him, you'll do what the creator wants. All right. And,
So that innocent blood is not shed in the midst of your land, which Jehovah your Elohim has given you as an inheritance, or blood guilt shall be upon you.
okay. So this blood guilt is upon not the person who killed somebody, but the person who revenged somebody's death. Now, there is righteous killing, like if somebody actually laid in wait and murdered somebody, and a sibling, the closest relative, goes and hunts the person down and kills them.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay by Torah, and that's okay by me too. So, all right, 11.
But when anyone hates his neighbor, and shall lie in wait for him, and rise against him, and strike his being so that he dies, then he shall flee to one of these cities.
Okay, so now this is somebody who hates his neighbor and lays in wait for him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's guilty, right? But maybe there's not enough evidence against him, not enough witnesses collected, or whatever.
And the elders of his city shall send and bring him from there, and give him into the hand of the revenger of blood, and he shall die.
Boom. All right.
Your eye shall not pardon him, but you shall purge the blood of innocent blood from Israel, so that it might be well with you.
Okay.
What does that mean? Your eye, purge the blood of innocent
Yeah.
blood from Israel.
Yeah, because remember, the person who died, it was because somebody hated him. They laid in wait and they killed him, so he was innocent. And so now the righteous thing to do is that he dies, right? So that it doesn't happen again, really, is what it's about. But that the innocent blood is the one who got murdered, and his justice hasn't been done until the murderer is killed. Right.
Okay.
All right, 14.
Do not remove your neighbor's boundary, which those in the past have set, in your inheritance, which you inherit in the land that Yehovah your Elohim is giving you to possess.
What's interesting is I work in the field of land development, and this is a what's the word? Oh, I can't remember. In other words, it's a law in the government, not just the state. What's that called? A something law. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyways, it's
Federal?
big trouble. Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't think of the word. It was just okay. Anyway, it is a federal law to this day. If you move a boundary marker,
Mm-hmm.
right? Usually it's an iron pole like hammered into the ground that you can find with a magnet and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you move a border, like it's big business. Like it's yeah, you get in big trouble. And I can't help but think that this has something to do with it, you know?
Yeah. One witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses, a matter is established.
And of course, we've heard this expression before by two or three witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just have some guy. If I had a grudge with a guy and say, "Oh, um, I saw that guy. That guy's the murderer." But you know, that's obviously just me being in spite, not seeing it had happened. Maybe I guessed that it had happened. Maybe I'm like, "Oh, he's the best potential person," so I'll say I saw him do it just to get the murder passed. Um, but yeah, go ahead.
When a malicious witness rises up against any man to accuse him of turning aside, then both men who have the dispute shall stand before Yehovah, before the priest and the judges who serve in those days.
Okay.
And the judges shall diligently search and see if the witness is a false witness who has falsely accused his brother.
Okay. So this diligently search out. This is it is to make good. Wait, I did that wrong. What did I do? Parallel. Yeah, diligent inquisition. So this is seek, and it is frequently seek. So you're seeking an answer, and then yatav, good. So seeking the good answer is diligently search.
Hmm.
So you're not just okay, his testimony seems more likely than the other testimony. That's not what it's saying. It's saying you got to like really hash the matter out and try to see whose testimony is consistent and
You got
evidence, and it's not just
you
it's
gotta
it's like
investigate.
today's court system.
You
Yeah,
gotta
it's investigate.
investigate.
Like today's court system.
Yeah.
19.
Then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst.
Okay, so what it's talking about, we're talking about the guy who bore false witness, right? So, like way back in Exodus chapter 20, it just says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness." It doesn't say, "Thou shalt not lie." It says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness," and this is what it's talking about. So this guy is saying, "I saw so and so kill such and such," which will bring him the death penalty. Well, if they find out that that guy's innocent and the witness is the liar, the witness will be put to death as if he committed the murder. That's how it goes. Like if you try to incarcerate somebody or for a crime, or if you try to punish them for a crime, the false accuser, the penalty comes on them.
Well,
And
especially if you're accusing them, if you're saying they killed somebody, then their punishment is death. You're basically attempting to kill that
attempting
person.
murder. Yep, exactly. Very good. Yep.
All right.
All righty.
And let the rest hear and fear, and never again do this evil matter in your midst.
If you were killed for false witnessing, how many false witnesses would there be?
Right?
I just go back to that logic every time. It's like, yeah, but if you knew you were going to die for it, oh, that's too harsh of a punishment. Well, then would you do that then? Right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this before about like um uh cheating on your spouse, right? If it was a death penalty, it's a different thing to be divorced, right? You can choose to not be married, right? That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you cheat on your spouse and you get caught, that's a death penalty. If that was the case, how many people would cheat on their spouse? It's just it's that obvious to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 21.
And let your eye not pardon, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
Yeah, and we've heard this expression in previous chapters, and this is saying you in the previous one it explained very clearly you can't take more than an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand. But here Moshe is saying don't just let something go, right? If somebody injures somebody, they need to pay for it. That's what it's saying,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, but again, the Torah says that you can't overdo it, right? You can't take more than an eye for an eye, hand for a hand, for tooth for a tooth.
Right.
All righty. Wow, Patricia Steer has joined us. Shout out to Patricia Steer. Welcome
Hi,
back.
Patricia.
Good to see you. That's awesome. Yeah, it was good to see her come back into the fold. I'm glad to see her back.
Yep.
She had a rough time. I'm glad she's back.
Mm-hmm. Me
All
too.
righty. Shouting out to Valley Parks, Isabella Live, Aisling 717, Boston Ray. A lot of chat going on. I'll have to
Good
glance over it later. I'm looking for names right now, folks.
good times for all.
Good times for all. What's up, Zach? Alex Javier.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Uh,
John Keeley,
good catch.
Joseph Osborne,
Aisling 717. What's up, Cammy?
Valley Parks.
I'm sure she was there longer, but that's when she first typed. So, Joseph Osborne, Patricia Steer, we called out. All right, that's awesome. Okay, let's see. Valley Park says, "Wonderful to meet me at Flattoberfest." Yep, that was a good time. Grand Rising. So no way. Now you got 9 children. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to my parents. Uh, not really. It just
It just happened.
Yaswell. Yaswell. Yeah. How did that happen? Okay. How can you afford 9 children? Are you filthy, stinking rich? No, you learn. You learn how to adjust finances. I'm not poor, but I'm not rich. So
It's a little bit of it's kind of misleading when people say you need to have a lot of money to have
that's true.
children. It's really not true. You don't need
I
that.
agree. And most of the time when they tell you how much children cost, they figure in, okay, what's the cost of college now? What's the cost of college when they're 20?
Yeah.
Right? That's what they go by. I'm not
Yeah.
sending my children to college. I'm just saying though. As far as finances, like it's actually cheaper to buy in bulk. For those of you who don't know, it's
Mm-hmm.
cheaper to buy in bulk. I
Mm-hmm.
tell people, the first three is hard, then the rest is the same. I don't care if you got 3 children. Once you have 4, 5, 6, 7, it doesn't matter. Once you get the 3 down, you're good. You figured it out by then. All
Yeah.
right. Anyway, you can't have a price on having hydro. Yep. We're talking about some herbs in this coffee. Okay, that's all. Uh,
My nickname was Ween
understand.
in high school. I love the band Ween. I love Ween. If you know,
All
you
right.
know.
All right, Ween. All right. I'm looking for actual conversations. There's a lot of silliness going on, which is awesome. Alex says, "Congrats to me, Carolyn."
Yeah, this chapter is pretty straightforward. I don't see a lot of questions about it.
You understand prophecy, so when God gives you a mission, you are more likely to complete it. Yes, and I would replace that with Yah instead of God, because God is the prosperity deity of Babylon. Sorry, it's a trigger. Um, Cities of refuge, yep. Like a bond land for accidental death, it shall not be killed by the family. Yep.
It's interesting too that like now, with the current events going on, there's certain cities that are called refuge cities, right?
Right.
And there's
Right.
bad things happening there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, you got to walk it the way you talk it.
Yeah, when you got a bunch of children, it's right. A lot of stuff gets used up. Recycle.
Okay. I think that there's no conversation about the scripture study on this thing, which I'm fine with that. I just, I'm trying to find something that, maybe somebody asked a question or they have a statement about. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I might have six more children to catch up to you, but I'll be 70 still raising babies. Yep. I hear you. It's becoming it's becoming a mind screw with me because I do believe age is just a number. Like, I my wife works at a bar and she's like, "Oh, you're how old? You're like a decade younger than me, and you look like 20 years older than me." So it it is just a number, because the way that how your lifestyle, what kind of energy level you have, what kind of interactions you have, it changes everything. So, like, let's say, someone my age who's never had children, they might not have the same, children energy as I do because I love my children. I love having children, so. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of just fun chat in the chat. So I guess we're all wrapped up. Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. All right, thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. And we hope you have a restful rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.